So amps, 2021.
Yeah, baby. Whew.
Year end, it is over. Marshall 410s, 412s.
410s are cool.
Does Marshall do 410s? Anyway.
I'm sure somewhere there's probably
but true. Not very often. But so the top sales, according to Reverb, have been released.
Two Rocks, Magnetones. It's crazy.
Oh. So it's not what you might think it is. We were sort of
Tone King. Tone King. No, it's not.
What's the Tone King?
You know the Tone King.
The Fenders?
No.
The Tone King. I was thinking Tone Master.
I'm just throwing out amps that you would think would be the top seller's car.
Number one is the Fender Mustang micro amp. It can fit in my hand, in my pocket, in my coat jacket. And now that thing, there's been amps like that before. Vox and Roland, other things have done it.
The little amp plug thing.
Fender has just done it right. And they've done it sort of to the level what we're used to. It can be used to also interface with your DAW. Besides having all the pre-built-in stuff, it's got Bluetooth. It sounds pretty decent. It's great for the plug and play guy on the go. Do you have one?
Nope.
No, you probably won't get one. I probably won't either. But there's so many, with 16 million new guitar players in the US alone, this is a great $100 thing to get.
To hear your guitar.
We think it's great. I
think it's great. It's cool.
I don't know.
Part of me kind of wants one. I should just get one.
I just don't like the way this thing sound on my headphones as much. That's headphones just hurt my earballs.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I can't. So I think Fender just knocked out of the park with this one.
I'm gonna say that's true.
And I don't know if they were expecting it.
I feel like they were. I feel like they had confidence in themselves.
I mean, they always have confidence, but this is a different level. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, even at $100, they gotta sell a lot of these to capture up with some of the other ones. But,
well, I think a lot of people, like you said, there's been so many new guitar players. People come in all the time. They buy a new electric guitar and they're like, "Oh yeah, I have to buy something to hear this thing through." Like it's always an afterthought.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And I've seen people buy the little, like the mini tweed Fender things, and you try to say, "Hey, listen, this is not going to sound amazing."
Yeah, those things are terrible.
Right. Like maybe you should spend a couple $100s and buy, I don't know, a Champion 50 XL because that sounds great. But when there's a $100 thing that you can listen on your headphones, you don't have to bother anybody while you're learning. It can sound like pretty much any amp, give or take.
Number two, Boss Katana.
Nope.
We got another modeling amp here.
I'm going to tell you that I do own a Boss Katana Mini.
God, you do? Okay. They're good, aren't they?
I have my little old man chair in the corner of my living room so I can survey the domain, which really means my children putting Legos everywhere.
Just make it,
Yes, or cars or princess things or whatever. And under my little table is my Boss Katana Mini.
Do you use it?
All the time.
Okay.
And it actually sounds really good.
They sound good. And number three is one that I thought was really funny because there's been lots of hates on it before, I didn't like it when I first saw it, but then I grew to like it. The Spark. The Spark is I think that's one of the greatest things for new guitar players as far as just getting you into guitar. The teaching.
One of my students showed me how you can put any Spotify song and it will break the song down with the chords. That's pretty amazing.
I mean,
it's like
that was not there for us.
No.
And I was like, how do I do that, Jimmy? But it's cool though, that Led Zeppelin sort of blowing up on TikTok right now, which is hilarious. It's like going to California is really popular at the moment. And I love that Zeppelin's coming back. And that's what I learned so much, trying to learn note for note when I was a kid, copying it, listening to it on the tape and rewinding it, and plus learning it without, there's no tabs, there's no internet.
Do you remember, I feel like buying a Spark is like buying a friend. Because when we were kids, you had to try to talk your one not so smart friend and playing a G chord so that you could solo over it. Sure, you want to play guitar? Here, play these two chords over and over.
You just sold 1,000 Spark units by saying that. You're in Spark, you can take that. Buying a Spark is like buying a friend.
It's like buying a friend. A friend who will learn to play a rhythm guitar for you.
I need friends like that. Now, number 4 and 5 are both the Orange, the Micro Dark and the Micro Terror.
There you go.
Now, this is when we start sort of first entering the hybrid amps, away from just the modeling. And then number 6 and 7 are both the Yamahas. What do we call those? They're not lunchbox, is it?
A tabletop.
Tabletop now?
That's what I believe.
The Tiny Terrors are like lunchbox to me.
Yeah, it's true.
And these are all great amps, and that's for the players out there. That's what they want.
It's true.
And that's a great way to start.
It is a great way to start.
It's a great way to end for some folks too.
Well, and even if let's say you have cool amps, like you have some Magnetones or some Two Rocks or some awesome Fender tube amps, whatever, that's not always awesome to play at your desk or in your living room. You know what I mean? So we talked about living room rigs. These might be great ways to do.
No, because I saw a few comments like there's not tons, but like Spark was up there too, and I was like, yes, I agree. I think that is.
Yeah.
I think it's a winner right there. Let's see what else I have on my little magical list. Oh, here's where we start to enter some. Number 8 was sort of my favorite. It was the AC-15 by Box.
Old school.
And that's like the first like sort of real tube amp that came in there. And it's an awesome amp. The bang for the buck on the Vox. We just sold one over the weekend, and I was like, what a good amp.
It is a good amp.
What a good amp.
Did we sell that one? Mm-hmm. That was a good little amp.
It's fun to play. It looks good. It's loud. I can get dirty without pedals.
What else would you really want?
It's cool. Then you got the Orange Crush coming in right behind it. And then I'm going to jump right to the Fender Tone Master, the Deluxe Reverb. So this is the first of the Fender Digital that kind of came in right at number 10.
Skating in.
And that's sort of, I was not expecting that to make it necessarily, but I'm glad it did. It's an expensive amp.
It's expensive. I feel like that's a cool amp because it can other than being expensive, it sort of appeals to beginners because it can be quiet. But I feel like if you maybe are the hobbyist who plays on the weekends or you play all the time, you can gig with that. It solves a lot of issues and it's quiet enough to play in your apartment or your living room or your bedroom or wherever. It's
big though, and comparatively. Now number 11 is my favorite of the list. It is the real Fender Deluxe Reverb 65 reissue. So that's neat that made it in there though.
Cool.
Because that's an expensive amp. It's like $1,300 plus now. God, I remember those were $9.99 too. It's funny. Years ago, like a year ago.
I mean, you think there were enough new guitar players over this last year to totally sort of take over this. You know what I mean? Like if just they all bought the same micro Mustang.
If I was
that's
a
it. That's
14-year-old kid, like coming in, like I would want one of those on the top list too, like the Spark or the Boss or the micro. So I just plug it in, and I don't have to have anybody hear me play crappy guitar. Because that was the big thing. Is like I would often play with not plugged in, right?
Me too.
Because you suck when you start,
right?
And you don't want people to hear it. Yeah, so I think
what you do.
And I don't think this is like a telling thing of like, well, tube amps are dead. I think because the tube amp sales are outrageously good right now, through the roof.
Yep.
Like we can't keep them in. Like we're trying to order more all the time.
All the time.
And just even tube supply is like limited, and the components are like hard to get. So everything's sort of slow. So there's no death to tube amp sales. But this is a great entry point, the gateway drug to guitar playing. $100, and you can buy your $199 or $230 or under $400 guitar. Under $500, you're in.
You're done.
That's pretty amazing. Whereas that's not really possible with a traditional tube amp.
No.
Unless you're getting some of the weird ones. Yeah, I just get a micro over that though.
And the problem with that, you get a weird one that's like 10 years old, and then maybe you have to do a few $100 maintenance to make it work. Or once it breaks. So there are some things to think about there. Yeah, there are some barriers to entry.
It was definitely like not when I saw like Fender Mustang Micro, I was like, that was not what I was expecting.
Well, you asked me this morning when I walked in. You're like, what do you think was the highest, the most selling amp? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking not that it's not cool, but cool, amps that I want.
I know.
Deluxe
Reverb. I thought Deluxe Reverb may be higher or something, but it's an expensive thing. Right. And I also ask, have you seen Wheel of Time? Or I'll ask Jonathan that as soon as
I'm so sad that I haven't yet.
I know, you wouldn't like it. It's just too much joy and excitement for you. You should just...
Robert Jordan, he's a treasure of our time.
That was really cute, the way he said that.
Do you know, I've never told you my Robert Jordan story.
Give it to us.
So I began reading The Wheel of Time as a young lad.
How old were you?
I don't know.
17?
No, I was like 20-something. In my 20s. So a friend gives it to me. He's like, this is going to be great, but you got to get through the first part. And the books are huge. They're like 1,000 pages.
I can't read this. I'm 20.
Right. So it was very slow to start. So, I'd read a few pages. I'd put it down. I'd get bored. A month later, I'd pick it up. Finally, when I get going, I'm hooked. And then I realize, there are 7 or 8 books in the series. It was not done being written yet. Like he was still in the process, right?
Lord.
So I start this undertaking of reading the series. It was supposed to be 12 books. They're all around 1,000 pages. So we get to book like 10 or 11, and he ends up with a terminal illness. He's in hospital.
No.
And of course, I feel bad that, this man who I think is a brilliant author is, in this situation. But I'm also like, you must finish this book.
Note to George Martin.
Like, you have to finish this book. Well, he didn't.
Oh,
passed away. But
somebody's finishing it.
they did finish it. He spent his last, I don't know, year with his wife, who was his manager, and another author who was like a, devotee of his. He laid out his outline. They couldn't do it in one book, so they actually made 3 more books.
Out of his final outline?
Yes, out of his final,
Have you read all those, too?
I've read them, of course
That's how it wraps up?
Yeah.
Okay,
And it's amazing.
I've never read it.
You got to read it. The Wheel of Time series, one of the best ever.
I'm going to watch it on Amazon.
That's fair. I hope they do a good job.
I do too. It's hard, because it's first season. They probably don't have the budget. You got to make sure it does well, and then we'll see if it does well.
We'll see if they stick. There's a ton of storylines going on at once, obviously, and
There's some of those shows don't
13, 14,
do well. I tried some of these, the HBO ones, like some of the new fantasy ones. It's like, nope, out. I tried like one episode, done.
Do you remember the old school like Legend of the Seeker? Like the dude, the Terry Brooks novels.
Vaguely.
And they weren't so good.
No,
It's like
the Maze Runner movies were just sort of letting down. The books were fun, and then you get
Yeah.
the movie, you're like, oh, that's it.
Some of these books I love, but yeah, then they don't all translate well to
Divergent,
series,
that's
right?
the worst ever. That movie series just got so bad. I couldn't even finish it. It was.
I didn't watch it. Yeah, no.
I watched the first movie, and it was sort of a yarn the whole time. But yeah. So if you're in the Hunger Games, those don't. That's great. That doesn't tie over. But yeah, so that's Amps.
Amps and the Wheel of Time.
Wheel of
Robert
time,
Jordan.
Wheel of the time keeps on. Is that the theme song?
Yeah.
That's what they play when that'd be horrible. That was
Would it be horrible or would it be amazing?
oh, it'd be so
It
bad.
could be amazing.
No, so let us know your thoughts. Like, I was surprised, but I'm actually really happy about it because it gets people into guitar. I love it, love it, love it, love it.
I think it's fantastic. I'm probably going to buy one and just keep it in my pocket always.
Just me, I'm ready to rock.
Bam!
Do you have headphones I can borrow?
And I'll keep a little 1/8" adapter in case I need to plug into a PA system.
Yeah, or you're
in case a
gonna
concert
DAW.
breaks out. Yeah, I mean, hey.
Dude, that would be tight. Like, why do you get that tone? It's so...
Bam!
Ah.
I think Anderton's did a video where they're like playing it, through things where we can hear it in DAW.
God bless them.
God bless them.
Take me home.
All right. Hit like and subscribe if you have not already. Click the bell so you don't miss these discussions in the future. And for a synopsis of the new Wheel of Time series, I'm sure we'll get there. See you guys later. Have a great day.
And don't forget that giveaway, PRS Guitar.
Ooh, it's good.
Talking about it all the time. See ya. Love you.